Hey guys, how's it going? We are at the back of the property, just admiring the stone today. My goal for today is to start working on the stone a little bit. I'm very excited about it. We're gonna do it this evening when it's really cool, so I don't know how much footage we're gonna get of it. Brent and I are both gonna work on it together, but I have a couple things that I would like to do today. I have some sunflowers that I started a while ago, and they're at a really good size now, and so I want to go get those planted today. I'm excited about it. I have some sunflowers that are really big, but my goal is to have like a little sunflower and zinnia field in one small section, and slugs and bugs ate all of them. So my goal is to get those planted today, and then I'm going to use some like slug deterrent so that way slugs don't eat them this time. And then I also would like to take some cuttings today. So I've got some cosmos that are growing really well, and I want to cut some of my cosmos, and I want to start some more plants because I'd like to have them in a few different places around the property. And if I do cuttings from them, they will be bigger faster than if I start them from seed. So we're gonna do that today, and they're so easy to propagate. If you haven't propagated cosmos, highly recommend it. I am wanting to just get a few simple things done in the garden because I know that doing the stonework is going to be kind of a big project today. I don't know how much of the stonework we're gonna get done. We'll probably work on it for like maybe 2 hours, maybe 3 hours this evening. But we are slow moving creatures in this household, so we'll see how much we get done. So when we do the stone, I think we're gonna start on the side here and then do the back here. So we'll do back and side first. That way we can have some really good practice with sides that don't really get seen too much. I don't want to start on that side because that's just going to be a really hard spot to get to. But we can start with the back, and nobody's really going to see the back ever. So it'll be fine if the stone is a little wonky back here. And then we'll get this side done, and it'll also be fine because you're only really going to ever see it if you walk from this way over here. So that'll be easy to get done. And then we'll save the front of it for when we feel like we're professionals and we know what we're doing. So let me show you guys the sunflowers because they look so good. I am so impressed, and I'm so happy I waited to get these planted. When I had planted out my original ones, I planted them out and they had just gotten their first set of true leaves, and I planted them out and I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. And I think that was definitely the wrong choice. I should have waited till they were the size that these ones are now. They would have been a little bit stronger, a little more robust. It is what it is. It's fine at the end of the day. Yeah, so let me show you guys these ones, and then I think you guys know where they're gonna go. Actually, we'll start with that because I'm right next to that area. So this is the area that they're gonna go, and I should have a ton of sunflowers in this area. I have almost no sunflowers in this area. I have one, and they should all look like that. I can't tell if that's a zinnia or a sunflower, and same with that guy. And same with that guy. I think that's a zinnia. I think that's a zinnia. I think that's a zinnia. And that is a weird growing sunflower. Look at it. Oh, goodness gracious. This one is about to bloom, which is so exciting. This is the Gold Lite DMR. If you order them online, I order them from Sunflower Selections. It's going to tell you that it's a single stem sunflower, meaning that you get one stem, one sunflower. They branch. They're definitely a branching sunflower. So you can see right here, that is where a new branch is going to come out. You can actually see a head forming right there. So that's going to be a sunflower bloom. And so this thing is going to branch out everywhere that there is a leaf, and then it's going to shoot out a flower. It's going to shoot out a small branch, and then it's going to shoot out a flower. And so usually I'll get like 15 sunflower blooms from one stem. The first bloom is going to be your big bloom, and then these are going to be really small. They're going to be like yay big, which is fine. I kind of like them when they're small. Really easy to use in flower arrangements. Also, the closer you plant sunflowers together, the smaller your blooms will be. So just know, if you want big blooms, you need to give them proper spacing. If you want smaller blooms, you give them less spacing. I tend to give them smaller spacing. Oh my God, I just noticed. There's one right there too. Hi, friend. Okay, fabulous. Cool. Pleasant surprise. Well, my plan is to get all of my sunflowers planted in this area. I want this to just be my little sunflower field. I think that that'll be really pretty, really happy, and a nice pop of color in this area. And somebody the other day told me that I need to shut up and just work. Well, baby, I have the gift of gab. I love to chit chat. I love to talk. And this is my show. So I will chit chat all I want. Let's get these sunflowers shown to you so you can see what they look like. So these are my sunflowers. These are more of the Gold Lite DMRs. And look at how far along they are. Some of them have kind of wonky stems. It'll be okay. Some of them I should have came through and I should have pulled the seeds off of them, but I just didn't. And that's okay. These two obviously didn't make it. You can see this one right here. Oh shoot, I just broke it. Well, okay, this will be a good example. You can see here, the seed didn't fall off of this, and so it's trying to shoot its stem out the side of these. These are called the cotyledon leaves. They're the very first leaves, and then these are the true leaves. So the sunflower seed, the shell, didn't come off of this. So what normally would happen is that the new true leaves would get stuck in here and it wouldn't be able to push past this and it would die. So normally with sunflowers, if I see it, I will come in and I will gently try to pull the shell off so that way the leaves can open up and then the stem can come through if I see it happening. I don't always do it. Sometimes I'm like, okay, you got it, you can make it. And sometimes the seed will just stay on one of the leaves and I'll just leave that. That's not an issue. But usually if I see them stuck together, I do try to come through and pull them off. This guy obviously is no longer going to make it. That's okay though. And a huge shout out to Bootstrap Farmer for sponsoring today's video. These are my favorite seed trays. This is what I do all of my seeds in. So these guys do what's called root pruning. And so basically, instead of letting your roots grow in spirals, the roots will touch the air and then they'll stop growing, or they'll grow down and then they come out and you get these nice, long, beautiful, healthy roots. And that's what helps have healthy little seedlings instead of having lots of spiraling. And I do all bottom watering. So I keep the bottom of the trays usually pretty full of water. I very, very rarely let it dry out because the roots are down here and I don't want the roots to dry out. So I do bottom watering and I let it sit in water. You can see there's my water line right there. And so these guys just stay wet all the time. And then these guys stay under grow lights. They've been hardened off, meaning that I'm letting them come out here a couple of hours during the day. I am going to put an umbrella up so that these guys don't shock with the sunlight. So today I'm getting them planted, and then today's gonna be the very first day that they spend a full 24 hours in the sunlight. It's gonna be their first time out here, meaning that there might be a little bit of burn and they might go into a little bit of shock. They might not fully be used to the UV rays out here. So I'm gonna set this umbrella that's right there, I'm gonna set it up so that these guys have just a little bit of protection from the hot, hot, hot afternoon sun and they don't crisp up and burn. So let's get these guys planted. I am gonna go in with no fertilizer on these. Sunflowers really don't need to have fertilizer. So if you want to, you can, but very little. They tend to fix the soil. They don't need fertilizer themselves. So let's get these planted. it's perfect. This is exciting. These guys should now make it. So I went in with the safer Slug and Snail killer. It's not organic, I don't believe. At this point, I'm not really sure that I'm worried about it. It says that it can be used around pets and wildlife, but it is nothing about organic. I think the word safer brand makes it feel like maybe it's a little bit safer, but I don't think it's organic. So if that's something that worries you, I would go with the Bonide one. The Bonide one is just so expensive. This, I think I paid like $10 for it, where the Bonide one for like this same amount was, I think, like 32 or something like that, which is insane. So I went with this route and it's been working great. Every time I've used it, I haven't had issues. I used it on my hostas and didn't have a problem, but I put it just sprinkled around each one of these and hopefully that'll stop them. I did sprinkle it around the ones that I was already having some issues with, and so that should also stop that. I do have 4 more left in the cells, and so I think I'm gonna take them and I'm gonna like just pop all 4 of them into maybe the big bed over there, in the big jelly bean bed. That way maybe there's some form of repetition in the garden. I want cottage, but I also want repetition. I think that that's kind of important. It helps tie the space together. Like, oh, I saw this plant over here and now I'm also seeing it over here. So that's kind of what I want to do in this garden, is have things scattered throughout the garden. I want big drifts, but then I also want it in multiple different places. Like I have yarrow in 3 different places. I have gomphrena in 2 different places. I have salvia in like 4 or 5 different places. That way there's just a lot of, you see the plant and then you see it again, if that makes any sense at all. Whatever. Anyways, let's go get these last 4 planted and then we're gonna take cuttings from Cosmos. I'm excited about that. So I feel like I need something tall here. I don't really want to go in with yellow because I have a lot of yellow on this side, but I think that I need tall, and sunflowers will be perfect for that. So I think on the other side of those guys right there, I think right below, or right, I guess, behind in between these yellow flowers and the, what are these, Coreopsis, I believe, and it's like designer threads or something, and then the diamond snow euphorbia, in between those I'm gonna plant these sunflowers, and then those will grow up and that will fill in that hole right there, and that'll be kind of nice. So I'm thinking that I'll go with like 1 right there, maybe 2 right there, I don't know, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. I think that'll be good. They'll be placed really tight together. I'm a little nervous about it because I feel like they're quite a large plant, but I'm hoping that they'll get tall and then I can just strip off all of the lower leaves and let it just kind of be these stakes, and then let the foliar growth and flowers fill out the upper area. I think that makes sense. I think it'll work. I'm a little bit nervous about it though. Well, that should be good. There was 2 in that cell, so I left them, 1 there and 1 there. So it'll create like a small wall. It'll be a fun experiment. That's what it's gonna be. So let's go ahead and take some cuttings from our Cosmos now. I have a beautiful Cosmo patch, and before it really starts blooming, this is a great time to do that. Especially while it's actively growing. Fabulous time. I'm gonna grab a Ziploc baggie really quickly. So I've got a Ziploc baggie. I put just a little tiny bit of water in here. That might be even a little bit too much, it doesn't matter. Just enough to keep our cuttings moist. With things like Cosmos, they dry out really quickly. And so going in, cutting it, shoving it in this Ziploc baggie, keeping it where there's a little bit of moisture, they won't wilt nearly as fast. And we're gonna keep very little foliar growth on our Cosmos. That's important too. They don't need a whole lot. I'm gonna put them in some very wet soil in my Bootstrap trays. I'm gonna show you guys the trays that I'm gonna use for those. I'm gonna use bigger ones, and I'm gonna put 3 per tray inside each one. And I think I'm only gonna do maybe 4 trays of these guys. Not trays, I'm gonna do 4 containers of these, not trays. And yeah, so I just need I need 12 cuttings. That's all I need. And we're not going for the biggest. We're going for healthy looking ones. Even some of the offshoot pieces will be the best. So let's go take our cuttings. I'll show you up close how to do it. Shove them in here. And then I'm gonna go moisten my soil and we will get these potted up. Okay, so these guys are all done now. They're ready to go under the grow lights and they will be able to grow roots in just a matter of probably like a week's time. There should be some root growth happening. And then in 2 weeks, there should be a lot more. And then by week 3, I will get these guys planted out. So in about 3 weeks, I will have another small patch of cosmos going. I took off all the foliar growth except for just a little bit. Less is more. It just needs enough foliar growth to be able to photosynthesize. So if you leave too much on, there's not going to be enough that this plant can like keep alive. So a lot of it'll die and the plant may end up dying itself. So less is more when you're doing your cuttings. If you leave too much on, like I said, they will wilt, and because there's no roots on here, it's not able to take up as much moisture or send moisture to all of this. Even this one might be too much foliar growth. So it's best to go with smaller cuttings, and it's also best to go with less foliar growth. So keep that in mind if you're wanting to propagate cosmos. They're extremely easy to propagate. I have 2 in each one of these cells. That way, when there's all this root growth happening, I can come in and I can just divide these in half, and then I can plant out each of these. So 2 of them in here, it's a fail safe. And then it would be best if I did 3 of them in here because these are so large. It would be really easy, but I just chose to do 2 because that's all I really need. So if I can get all of these to grow, which I'm assuming that I'm going to be able to get all of these to grow, cosmos propagate really easy, then I will have another little place in my garden that I can grow cosmos. And I'm really excited about that. And if you notice, I didn't go in with any fertilizer on these. Cosmos don't do well with fertilizer, especially once you get them planted. So if you're planting cosmos in your garden, do not fertilize them They like really, really crummy soil. The worse the soil is, honestly, the better, but they do like water. So make sure that they get water, no fertilizer. If you fertilize, you're just gonna get foliar growth. You're not going to get a ton of blooms. So we grow some in our front yard every year. This is the first year we haven't, and it's the worst soil. They never get fertilizer. I don't fertilize them once. It's really gravelly, rocky, crummy garbage soil, and they just throw up a ton of blooms for us every single year. This year I'm growing it in some really good, it's kind of rich soil. It's brand new compost. So I am a little bit nervous to see how well they perform. I'm seeing a lot of green growth and very little bloom growth. So we'll see what happens. With these guys, these are gonna go where I've got crummy soil. Cosmos are also super susceptible to spider mites. So if you deal with spider mites, it's best to preventively spray for spider mites on these guys, or just make sure that they stay wet. So spider mites like dry and hot conditions, which Cosmos also really like. They like dry, hot air. They like wet roots. So I just try to go and spray them down every once in a while with some water to help with spider mites. We get spider mites every single year, and by the end of the season, they're so ready to be pulled because they're just being taken over with spider mites. So I want to stay up on it this year. We will see. This patch right here is going to go in crummy soil. So thank you to Bootstrap for sponsoring today's video. I will see you guys this evening when we start working on some of the brickwork on the greenhouse. Okay, it is the very end of the day. The sun is setting. It's so nice. This area is in shade, except when I was standing right there. But you can see the greenhouse is now in shade, which is very exciting. So that means it's time to start working on the stone. It's about time. I know. I'm sorry. Anyways, Brent and I are going to work on it. We have 1 bag of mortar left, so that's all the work we're going to do. We're going to mix up 1 bag, get the 1 bag mixed, and we're going to start, I think, on the backside and get as much of the back of it done as we possibly can. I'm not going in with spacers. I don't care about the space being even. I'm going in with skinny stones and big stones next to each other. I'm not going for straight lines like you see on homes. I'm going for something that looks like stacked stone. And sometimes it's gonna be a big stone next to a little stone, or a long stone next to a tall stone. So I'm not worried about spacing, and I'm going in with an uneven space. 1 inch to 1.25 inches, roughly. I am so not worried about it because we are going to completely fill the gap. It's not going to be set in, so you're not really even going to notice any of the gap of the mortar. So let's get to work. This is going to be good. It's so nice because it's so cool this evening. Been a little over an hour, maybe. Couldn't even tell you, if we're being completely honest. Brent got that corner and that corner done, and then I kind of made the executive decision to come here and put 2 pieces upward. I thought it would kind of make the entrance just slightly more grand, feel a little more like columns in the front, I guess. So we've got 2 of them on the sides. I kind of like it. And then I will stack stones up to those. I think that that's going to give an even more elevated look and just something a little more unique than just straight stacked. And if we're being honest, like, none of these are perfectly cut straight. So this will be really nice because that gives the door frames a perfectly cut straight edge. So excited about that. We've got This corner was already done. Brent is currently working on this side here. And then let me show you the back. And then this is where we're sitting at on the back. We got the whole bottom row done. We kind of decided what we'll do is we will do 1 row a day. I think that that's going to be easy. And this is already a lot of work. For being honest, we're not done with the first row yet. So we got first row in the back done. I got a little bit done on this second row. This was before we decided. And then we're going to finish this side, and I'm going to do the front pieces right now. So Brent's going to finish that up. So we're getting there tonight. And we're not doing the furthest side that's closest to the fence. We're going to wait until dead last. So once we get everything done, we will get this side right here, this wall done. We want to wait because whatever stone is left over, we want on this wall where you won't see it at all. You're never going to see that wall, but I do want it done. I just don't want to use any good stones. I'd rather it be, if it's a whole bunch of little teeny tiny stones, I won't care. I just want it to look nice in the end. So we're getting there. We're getting there. First row is almost done. The first row on the back is complete all the way up to the corner over there. And then this side, the entire first row is done also. So tomorrow we're going to come in, we'll do the second row, which is really exciting. You can see we're not worried about it all being the same height. We don't want that. We want it to look like these were put together like a puzzle, and each piece is individually picked and they're stacked actual stone. And then what we're doing is called over mortaring or over grouting. So it'll be all nice and flush. And then all of this, even though these are a slightly different color, we're gonna go over them. So it's gonna get, think of kind of like a German schmear almost. So it's gonna get kind of like a wash in the mortar. And it's all gonna be kind of like almost flat, but you'll see the stone. There just won't be the like indent from where the mortar and grout goes. Let me show you the front. And then the front we got done. I did the 2 column pillars. I wasn't sure I was gonna do that. So I called a friend, phoned a friend, and they said that I should do it. They said it looks kind of nice, it looks kind of grand, which is what I wanted. So got that done. I was a little bit nervous. This one did not want to stay put. That one stayed put beautifully. That one was giving me issues. And then I got in a really big stone right here, and we're gonna put in a big stone right there to kind of match that. And then small stone, and then the corner pieces. And then tomorrow, I'm hoping that we can get this next row done. So this will be like a small piece here. I'll do like a really small, like a square piece right there to just kind of break up that massive chunk. And then we didn't get this one piece on. We just barely ran out. So I got that piece on and we got that piece done, but we were 1 piece shy. It was a big piece. We still had some left, but definitely not enough to do that piece. So we didn't want to risk it. So tomorrow we'll get that piece on, and then we can start on our next row up. So that is where we're gonna end the evening. I feel like we made really good progress today. I got a lot done. I'm very proud of what happened today. Brent's closing up the back gate. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. We're making progress. We're back to working on the greenhouse, which is nice. So I'm gonna say give it about a week, and maybe we'll start working on the actual greenhouse itself. So thanks for visiting our garden, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.